welcome everyone to welcome to the Return of the Knicks podcast. I am Sports Jedi Kev. I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome aboard. Well, let's break it right into the nuts and bolts of things. The New York Knicks last night fall to the Orlando Magics, 104-98. A game that leaves your head scratched. It leaves you puzzled. It leaves you, wanting to have answers from the New York Knicks. That performance at home. Why can they seem not to close out the games at home? Oh my God, I was all over the place with that one. New York City grammar. But like head scratching. We saw some puzzling things. Another struggle from Julius Randle. And it's not on Julius Randle's fault on that game. Although he would help if he was to hit some more shots. He was 1 of 11 from 3-point line. 1 of 11, and I'll get the numbers on each and every one of them. And it's not solely on him. Once again, I want to be transparent. I'm not blaming Julius Randle. R.J. Barrett did not have a good game. Kemba Walker, MIA again. Derrick Rose played well, but wasn't as usual with Derrick Rose self there. But you're gonna have time to time again. It seemed like the Knicks hit some shots, but they just didn't have that big moment of that big clutch shot. They were hitting some shots at times, but when they needed a statement basket, they weren't there. And Orlando, young team that likes to run and gun quick. No, we understand that they're one of the lowest bottom echelons team in the NBA. Hey, half of their wins came against the Knicks, and both of them are Madison Square Garden. So they only won 4 games, and 2 of them were at the Garden. So it tells you something. But that team. I'm from Orlando, Florida. I live in Orlando, and this is being broadcast from Orlando, Florida. I've been here for almost, a decade and a half. I've seen the Magics play. I've seen a lot of the preseason of the Magics. Living down here, when you get free tickets or when a good friend invites you, you go. And when we went to see them against the San Antonio Spurs, they were very. I left that preseason game a little impressed with the Orlando Magics. To the point I was like, I wasn't saying they're going to go to the playoffs. I wasn't saying I'm not even saying they're going to make a play-in tournament. I'm just saying they're a good team night in, night out. They're going to fall short due to errors, mistakes, and so forth. But they're not going to be quite an extreme pushover. They got talent there. They got some athleticism, speed, and so forth. And right now, what it looks like, the matchups with the Magics, favors it hurts the New York Knicks right now, especially a team that's trying to find themselves. They don't have an identity. The Knicks currently right now. What's the New York Knicks identity? You can't say their staple is defense because they're not playing that same intense defense. Although we saw that in that Indiana Pacer game that it was a pleasant to see it arrive and return. But right now you don't see what's their identity. They want to be a 3-point team that chucks up shots, shooting over. They shot 40-something threes. We'll get all the nuts and bolts and the numbers. I just want to give my opening statement. What it was, we're searching for answers as the New York Knicks. What is their identity? And right now, we're just 16 games close to it. We still don't know the identity of this team, and which it's okay. You're still above 500 by 1 game, so forth. You've seen in the beginning of the season. When it clicks really good. It looked really, really not really phenomenal. The Boston, and if you're telling me they have good wins in the season, they beat the Bucks, they beat the Pacers, they beat the Chicago Bulls, they beat the 76ers twice, the Celtics. They got some good victories on their belts here, and also got some losses that you're like, wow, you should have not lost twice to the Orlando Magic, and plus on your home court. That Raptors game, and so forth. We could just sit here and go over every bit of it. They're still finding themselves. The combinations right now in the starting unit is not falling into place yet. You don't see also the one good thing you could say about the New York Knicks is their young developing second unit. Obi Toppin, Emmanuel quickly. They're taking some good leaps and bounds forward. I think Derrick Rose is not just in short spurts, their best player right now, and also the most popular player. I do. Those that don't know me and listen to me the first time on podcasts And salute to everyone listening to us on the podcast and everywhere you find your podcast, on the YouTube channel or here on Twitch or any other of the platforms that we broadcast this message to. I do what's called the New York Knicks play-by-play watch-along every game on YouTube channel and Facebook and Twitter. Not yet on Twitch yet. I will be shortly, hopefully in the near future. We'll be simulcasting live directly onto Twitch. Right now, only 3 platforms. And I do the games, watch along, and we get a lot of folks from the Philippines on our program. And salute to the Philippines for the wonderful love that you guys give BX Sports Jedi Network. Not just for the watch-alongs on the NBA and the Knicks, as well as the MLB with the Yankees. Overwhelming support. And my point is that everyone that came from the Philippines, all they were asking for was Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, is he in the game? How's Derrick Rose statistically? How's Derrick Rose doing? Did he play? Has he scored? And the chat, and they all come into the chat. They write on the chat where my program, if those that, like I said, that don't know me, that are hearing me for the first time, I'm a very heavy chat interaction. I believe in the audience participation, the chat participation. You ask me questions, you ask the scores, and so forth. And Philippines, my point is, Derrick Rose is the most popular player for the New York Knicks on this current team. And there's not, to me, it's not an issue, no problem. But shouldn't it be Julius Randle? Shouldn't it be R.J. Barrett? And it shows something about those 2 players. They're up there right now. They're on 1-2 punch. If you ask me, although you could say Derrick Rose is the number 2 punch right now, especially coming off the bench. He's the leader. He's the leader of the Rat Pack. One of our subscribers that comes in the chat, Kelvin T. Jones Sr., named him the Rat Pack. He gave him the nickname, and we kept it. So the second unit, we call it the Rat Pack, with Obi Toppin and so forth. And they're playing phenomenal. Derrick Rose is playing wonderful basketball at that age, 33 years old, developing quickly, developing Obi Toppin. And Alex Burks fits in perfectly with them, as well as Taj Gibson, night in, night out. You know what we get from them. That's right now, you could say the Knicks' identity is that right now. Their second unit, the way they change the pace, the way they're able to fight back and claw back on any deficit the Knicks find themselves. Heck, you even saw them come back from a 21-point deficit against the defending world champions a couple Friday nights. And it's a little bit of a concern because you want your starters to be the guys that are really doing all the heavy lifting, the bulk of the work here, and putting the second unit in position to continue to succeed. Just think when the starters gets to click and starts going, they should be handily winning these games by double-digit leads or victories if everything clicks there. But then you're going to have in other hand, you're going to say, well, you're not going to expect the second unit to always provide this punch that it gives it. You could be right there. We could meet in the middle or say it's a balance. But the way the energizing effort, barring injuries, the energy that the second unit brings night in, night out. Now we've seen a long sample size of this. We've seen it since Derrick Rose was acquired in that trade last season from Detroit. Now he's on this team, and you see that same energy, and you see what you're going to get from the second unit of the New York Knicks bench. And with that said, I think that's their identity. And I'm not calling, and granted, I'm not calling for more minutes from the starters, and I'm not from the second unit to be starters. I'm not saying that either. But that's their identity. I don't know what to say about the starting unit. It's just not fitting right now. You saw R.J. Barrett had taken some nice steps forward. Now he's taking a step back, regress. Julius Randle this season has not come up the season that we were spoiled. My question is, did Julius Randle raise the bar last year so high that he's not capable of reaching that bar again? Not saying it's a fluke either, I'm just saying everything is just last year might have been a perfect storm for that young man's career. He had, and maybe he just didn't want to get uprooted last year because remember that the plan for the New York Knicks front office as well as Thibodeau, everyone knows it. It's been documented. It's been even mentioned. Countless of hours was mentioned by many different talking heads, ESPN, and also us, the content creators on these platforms. The plan was they were drafting Obi Toppin, and during the middle of the season, they were going to trade Julius Randle. They were going to flip for a package to even more picks, a disgruntled player or one of these all-stars players that had a enormous contract that they wanted, teams wanted to move it and the Knicks were going to try to pick up their contract along with some draft picks, the same way that Brooklyn did a couple years ago when they were rebuilding, when they took on some bad contracts, and they also got some draft picks in exchange for that. With the I think it was Allen Crabbe kind of move and on those kind of deals, and the Knicks, everything changed. The narrative changed when Julius Randle just came out, and he was an all-star, let alone 8th in the MVP voting. He had an MVP type of season all around. This year, he's not hitting the mid. Julius Randle has a few issues of his own. He's not hitting the long mid-range. He's shooting around 24% from the long mid-range, while last year he shot around 57 or close around there. Like I said, my numbers might be wrong. And he's struggling from that shot. Teams have a different scouting report with him. They're forcing him to the baseline. They're forcing him to a lot of out-of-bounds plays. They're forcing him to dribble and that way. And either he gets trapped in the side corner there with no real estate, and the shot clock, either in any of these, gonna either pass the ball cross court, which is players are getting in the passing lane, or he's gonna put up a bad shot with the shot clock coming down to bail him out, because he could create. One thing great or good about Julius Randle, he could create his own shot. He's not limited, but sometimes it's not the correct shot, or it's not a good looking high percentage shot. So that's one of his struggles so far with it. And also, we saw a couple games when we saw the Charlotte Hornet game, although the Knicks lost that game, when the offense flows to the point guard and the point guard penetrates and flows either with Derrick Rose or Kemba Walker, the team looks much more better, more crisper, much more decent. The Charlotte Hornet game, we broke it down before. We know what went wrong with the defense, not intensity, and so forth, and back and forth with that. We also saw it in the Indiana Pacer game. The guys were the point guard. We had a 3-level of point guard. We had a 3-headed point guard. You saw the first half, it was Kemba Walker attacking, and the offense ran through Kemba Walker, then Derrick Rose, and then Manu quickly closed it out for the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. And you saw that victory, and also helped that they got a good defensive effort. You hold 10 points. You hold an NBA team to 10 points in the fourth quarter. That's going to be a recipe of victory. But nevertheless, excuse me for being tongue twisted. You see the Knicks still needs to run the point guard. Need to run their offense to point guard. Get other players involved, and it's not a detriment on Julius Randle. Julius Randle knows what to play. Knows how to play basketball. He's been a hardworking NBA player, collegiate level player all his life. I right now am believing in Randle. I still believe in Randle, but here's the only but not for the minutes he played last season. I think some way, somehow, I think his minutes need to diminish just a little bit. I'm not asking to keep him completely off the floor. I'm not asking to give him the Kemba Walker treatment. That Kemba Walker right now is not even playing the fourth quarter. And RJ Barrett at times didn't play. I think a big turning point last night's game was in that fourth quarter. Thibodeau, and you have to bring damn if you do, damn if you don't. He brought back Julius in, and he put RJ on the power forward position. There were, you see the sizes, Orlando took advantage there, the N1. And he also, one thing I noticed on the floor, and I was mentioning it to one of my co-partners here on the network, on the Sports Jedi Network, on the Return to the Knicks podcast that comes out with me, named Gideon, aka G Money, who always comes down after each game and he breaks everything down. he gives me his assessment and he breaks it. Does a really good job with it. And we were mentioning to him, and we said, you know what I noticed? Emmanuel quickly on the floor. Emmanuel quickly was being vocal, a vocal leader, being more assertive. I remember a couple times he kept telling his players around him, "You didn't rotate." You know, he was holding some players accountable, not in a demonstratory or demeaning way on the floor, but if you read lips, because I get to, when I do the watch alongs, I get to do it. I get it on the application where it doesn't take commercial breaks. It's on the all 22, similar to the NFL, and you stay on the court during the commercials. You see the feed from the arena. Whatever. Sometimes they have the T-shirts. You see the city girl dancers or whatever entertainment they have. But also it stays there with the players during the timeouts, and and when they're walking back, you see quickly immediately goes to either Toppin at one point. He went to RJ. I think he a few other players. I should have written it down. And he was telling him, hey, if I'm here, you need to rotate and move. When the player's there. I know there was a fast break opportunity when Emmanuel quickly was heading back. He was a 2-on-1, and Toppin didn't rotate. I think allowed Franz Wagner to Euro step and got in the easy bucket. And he quickly told Toppin, you need to rotate and draw the charge. And that was really cool. I was like, you know what? He's being vocal. He also mentioned, I think he mentioned it to, if I'm not mistaken, it was to, I think it was when he was on the floor with Randle, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure if it was with Randle or if it was with Burks, but I know it was one of them that he asked. RJ Barrett. I'm sorry. I should have wrote that down. I was just doing the watch along. It's hard to write everything while you're doing the watch along and describing every play of the game. But the point, nevertheless, the point is that you see maybe Emmanuel quickly is asserting himself of being a floor general leader and being vocal and telling his teammates, rotate. Trust me, I'm going to be here. I will rotate. And so forth. And if a leader leads by example, hopefully this is a good thing going forward for Emmanuel quickly in that game. A lot of things happened on the game. Let's get to the game stats. The Knicks, they were actually led last night. Their leading scorer was RJ Barrett. No, is this the right game? Yes, it is. Yeah, RJ Barrett had 17 points. 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Julius Randle had 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. And they both played 34, 32 minutes. Mitchell Robinson logged in there with 13 points, 11 rebounds, 31 assists. Mitchell Robinson played pretty well game. He played a pretty good game. He wasn't really that impactful on the defense, if you ask me. He didn't really didn't assert himself too much. You had Evan Fournier. I thought he was going to have a breakout game, seeing his former teammates on the court, in the Orlando Magics, knows how they, the tendencies, how they play and so forth. But of course, it's a younger, different team. But, you still see that your old team, that old uniform, and you want to send a message. But Evan Fournier only had 5 points. He had 5 points, an assist, and a rebound in 21 minutes. Kemba Walker had 5 points, 2 assists and a rebound. He also played 21 minutes, did not play the fourth quarter, and I don't think Evan played any bit of the fourth quarter neither. And Alex Burks was solid again. I keep saying Alex Burks is unappreciative player for the New York Knicks. He logged in with 15 minutes. He played 27 minutes, Alex Burks. He had 5 rebounds, 4 assists. What can you say? Unappreciative. He can get streaky. That sometimes he don't score as much, but he is. You're gonna get a maximum effort from Alex Burks. He just goes well what the Knicks need him for. He doesn't overdo too much of what is needed, and I think he provides exactly what the Knicks need from that position, from what his skill set is. And Emmanuel quickly, he had 24 minutes. He had 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Yeah, 7 assists. He led the team last night in assists. He had 6 points. Those 3-pointers. Not a lot of scoring, but he was, working the assist, breaking defense down. He was doing a little other things, moving guys around on defense, being vocal. So you see a little bit of emergence of Emmanuel quickly, possibly being the floor general in the near future, and he's starting to develop that aspect of being vocal. No longer that shy kid. And keep an eye on that in a couple of games from now. See how he keeps maturing and excelling. And as the game slows down for Emmanuel quickly, maybe the game slows down enough for him where he gets to be more vocal, which we're seeing it on the floor. We're seeing to see it so far here. Then you had Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, 19 minutes. He had 10 points, 2 rebounds, and assists. Usually not what we normally think of Derrick Rose, but Rose was good. Although the only lasting impression that you're going to have on Derrick Rose was that bad turnover. He was trying to go for a home run shot. Turnovers is you taking risk or one-on-one mistakes. That you take a lapse and you that's a turnover normally deals with when you're in isolation or you're trying to do something, a risk play, high risk reward. And Derrick Rose tried to go to high risk reward, feeding off. If he would have connected with that home run to RJ Barrett in the wing, that would have led to an easy dunk. And we know who knows where that game would have been. That dunk there, that turnover led to Terrence Ross got in the lane and led to a fast break where he dunked the ball, and that's when the Magic took a 1-point lead there, which they didn't relinquish, and it would have changed the complexion of the game. All in all, Derrick Rose had a regular game, mediocre. You know what you're gonna get, Rose. He wasn't great, but he was good. 10 points in 19 minutes. That's not bad there. Another player that had a really good game, another phenomenal game, impactful, and actually hit 2 3-pointers was Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin had 14 points. He had 2 3-pointers. He hadn't made a 3-pointer since game number 2 against the Orlando Magic. Yes, he was like 0 for 25, something like that from 3-point land, and he hit 2 consecutive back to back. He still continues to be a threat off the glass. You saw the dunks, the alley-oops. You see him on the defense up and down the court. His energy is phenomenal off the chains. Sometimes he gets beat on defensive, but he's still learning the craft. He's still learning how to play defense. Year 2, what a big improvement from an Obi Toppin. Actually, the crowd and everyone on Twitter, social media, and all the different platforms are calling for more minutes. And the Obi Toppin train bandwagon is starting. It's for real. The Hive there and the four and then everyone, I call it the Obi-Wan Force is really getting big. And this person right here that you're looking at, myself, am a huge, a huge Obi Toppin fan. I just want to see him and quickly do phenomenal. And I want our homegrown talent to be the main guys to lead this, especially a kid from Brooklyn, come in and play for the Knicks. Me from the Bronx, I love to see Kemba Walker here. I identify myself in a way, because if I was in a position to play and be blessed with that talent, I would love to play for my New York Knicks or my hometown. If I was a baseball player, I wanted to play for the Yankees, or the Knicks or any of the New York football teams. If I were to be a professional, of course, I want to play for my team that I was, the state and the city that I was born in, and represent them and try to, especially the Knicks. You be a homegrown talent to come in here and break this 50-year slump that we're in and win the championship. My God. So speaking of that, I'm going to go with one of the biggest unsung heroes, night in, night out, Taj Gibson, the heart and soul of the team. Brooklyn native as well. He had 14 minutes. He only had 2 rebounds, no assists, no points. Gibson was a little quiet there tonight. One thing that I know, I don't want to hammer Tom Thibodeau on this either, but I think he should have played down the stretch in the 4th quarter. It was interesting to see RJ Barrett as the power forward in there and Julius on the 5. And I understand, if you're not gonna, so why have RJ and you're gonna stunt his development? He's got to get on the floor for crunch time, closing time. You're gonna groom him to be a closer, or dare I say, the franchise player of the team. He needs to, RJ needs to be on the floor against a really low level Orlando Magic. All the narratives that we were mentioning, you're absolutely correct with it. But my point is, I think Gibson should have been on that floor. Remember, Gibson was the one that pretty much sealed that victory, besides the RJ 3-pointer that he nailed it and closed out the show there. but it was Taj Gibson's defensive turnover getting in the passing lane that it was going to lead to a dunk for the Pacers last game. That he intercepted that pass that was going to Karis LeVert, and that led to the swing play where RJ hits the three from Rose, and that was the unsung hero was Taj Gibson. I was kind of not worried or puzzled. I actually was like, I wonder why Gibson didn't go in there. And I understand you gotta keep Gibson fresh, and it's not that old of a player, but I understand why you went that way. The Knicks one needed offense. They weren't scoring the offense. They were anemic on offense again, and they went small ball to try to get some offense going. I understand that. Because Taj Gibson isn't called to be an offensive threat for the New York Knicks on this team. And I get that. I see why you went that small ball and they didn't play Gibson there, but it was a little puzzling. I wonder how the outcome would have been different if Gibson would have been on the floor. Just for defensive purposes in that close game there, it would have made a difference or not. We will never know. That's all semantics at this point. But let's go with let's see if I get some more. Let's see if I get some stats here, some more in-depth stats. And again, Julius ended up playing 32 minutes. He shot 4 of 11 from the field, 36.4%. He was a negative 21 on the court. Negative 21. Those in analytics symmetric numbers. Evan Fournier in 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 36 seconds. He was shooting 2 of 6 from the field. Another one, 33.3%. He was a -1. Kemba Walker, and 2 out of 7 from the field. He shot 28.6%. He was a -3. And really, one of the few minuses on the bench was Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, according to metrics, he was 4 of 9, shot 44.4%. He was a -11. I guess those turnovers were hampering him. Gibson was a -5. All around, there was a lot of minuses. And I say some of the numbers are misleading because Burks got a -5 on the field on plus minus, and he was a -5. And Burks did not play as a negative. I'm sorry. You say that's why numbers sometimes can be a little deceiving. I think he played really, really a good game, and Emmanuel Quickly was a -1. Although I think Quickly was very vocal, very leader. He helped there. So, that Julius Randle -21 is a little bit exaggerated as well. But when you shoot one for 11 from 3-point, and out of those, 4 of those were a couple of. He had a dunk or a putback offensive rebound. That's I could see why he's a negative there. And RJ Barrett was a -2, although RJ Barrett felt he was more impactful of a -2 on the floor. 7 of 9, shot 36.8% from the field. And sometimes, like I say, numbers are a little bit crazy, And the Knicks as a team collectively shot 42% from the field, 37 out of 88. The Orlando Magic shot 40.6%. Not that good either, but 39 out of 96. The Magic were 11 out of 38 with 28.9 points, 29% from the 3-point land. The Knicks shot 16 out of 49. They ended up chucking 49 threes. They shot 32.7%. If they would have hit, if they would have hit the league average at 36%, we're talking about a different victory. You're talking about 2 more threes made. Who knows? The Knicks shot 66.7% from the free throw line. They missed 4 free throws. So they were 8 out of 12. The Magic were 15 out of 18 with 83.3 from the charity stripe. The Knicks were, again, second game in a row. They were totally out rebound, 51 to 45. The Knicks were also offensive rebound, 14 and 11. The Knicks had 25 assists, though, to the Magic's 20. The Knicks had more blocks, 7 blocks. The Knicks did not have more steals. The Magic had 7 steals to the Knicks 5. The Knicks, here's the number that gets also why you lost this game. You had 18 turnovers. The New York Knicks did not secure the ball, 18 turnovers. I remember so many countless times that a lot of foot out of bounds turnovers with those. They go too much to the corners. They love that high corner of the court. And just, you have so much court in front of you. Play in front. I understand the corners are the shortest threes, but and they just go there so much, and teams are trapping there, and teams get savvy. They're really savvy. They know how to rotate well, and I think that's the scouting report that they have right now on them. So that let's get the Magics for the Orlando Magics. The Orlando Magics last night, they were led by Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross had 19 points in 30 minutes with 2 assists, 2 rebounds. You know he's an instant microwave, always scoring, looking to score. Um, then followed by Cole Anthony. Not a good night for Cole Anthony. He didn't shoot so particular well. Let's see where I get Cole Anthony's numbers there, just to give you guys a look on Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony was 5 out of 21. So no, that was not good. But he was a +4. No one was, just Gary Harris was a minus for the Magic. Harris and R.J. Hampton. Those it. Everyone else was in the positive. You had Wendell Carter Jr. He was hesitant. He only shot one. He only made 1 3. He was 1 of 4. He didn't want to shoot the 3. He passed out on a lot of threes, and he was a +7. Franz Wagner. He was. He shot 6 of 11. What a pain in the butt he was. He had 16 points for the Magic. Carter had 11 points. Mo Bamba had 12 points. Yeah, and Mo Bamba, 6 for 13. You saw Jalen Suggs. The Magics. If you look at the amount of field goals made, not a lot, but man, they felt so crucial and so impactful. Jalen Suggs only had 5 field goals made, and it just felt like he took over the game at a portion there in the early fourth quarter. Like, my God, he's and we only made 5 of 12. And then you had Sume Okiki. Okiki was 3 for 4. He only put up 4. He only did 4 attempts, but man, it felt like they were very impactful in key moments of the game. He's 3 for 4 with 9 points. He also had that the 3-point play. You had Gary Harris was 1 for 5, and you had Mo Wagner 2 for 3 there. He only played 5 minutes, just 6 minutes. And he had some good numbers there. He had 6 points, 2 threes that he made there. So Orlando, their numbers aren't so hot, nothing sexy. Their leading scorer only had 16 points, and they scattered the ball and not too much of a balanced scoring. The high man was 16, and you had some 15, 13, 12, 19, 11. It wasn't nothing. It just, that's what frustrates us as Knicks fans, to see the Orlando Magics the way they just, we should have got that victory. Would have, could have, should have. Hopefully in a few months, the Knicks go on a stretch. They get clicking, and we look at this partner like, oh, remember when we lost those those 2 games in November to the Magics? Oh man, just imagine how much better we could really be. So hopefully, when we look at it, revisionist history, we'll chuckle at it, or we could say, that was a concern. The warning signs was early in the season, but it'll be interesting to see. I have the audio for Coach Thibodeau, and once I have it, I'll play the audio of Coach Thibodeau, and we'll hear from Coach in a minute, courtesy of the MSG Network, and hopefully we can hear it. Let's see if we could. Hopefully we hear it. Let me see. Maybe we're not hearing it well. Hold on. We'll go to Thibodeau again. Let's give it another shot. We do have Thibodeau there. Oh, let me bring that back here. Excuse me, guys. So this is live in color. So and let's go Thibodeau. Good question, and Obi Toppin. No, that's not Obi's fault. You're asking them about the rotation and figuring it out now. So Mitchell Robinson there. So thank you to thank you, Coach Thibodeau. There, we'll go as far as I go there. He's talking about adjustments, so look for him. And what a way of getting him involved and adjusting and making adjustments. Now you got a game against the lonely Houston Rockets. Only have one and 14 on the season. We know that they're rebuilding. They know that they have a lot of rookies. Their roster, not good team there. They're coming in the Garden. The recipe, it's like the chicken soup recipe here that they have is the Rockets for the Knicks. Now the Knicks have an opportunity to whatever message they resended here as a team, as a coaching staff. Interesting. The next 2 days of practice. Today, Thursday. They don't play Friday either, so they have another 2 days off before they get in here and they play the Houston Rockets. Let's see. Last time they had 2 days off. Friday, they had Saturday and Sunday. They play Monday against the Pacers. They have one of the best defensive team of the season so far. This early though, but the hell, and let's see how they're gonna come out Saturday night against the Houston Rockets. We shall see how that adjustments, how Thibodeau the message, and of course, it has to start with Julius Randle. Last year, Julius Randle bought into Tom Thibodeau's system, to the message, preach, and he led by example. He led by example, and it rubbed off on everyone on the team. You saw guys hustling. They knew the Knicks were not a fully complementary gifted team on offense, but it worked well with this team. It wasn't the sexy team we wanted. We wanted them to go deep in the playoff run, but at times it was an exciting season, and we saw exciting from where they were, and we see the arrow pointing up, and it's still it's not panicking time either. They're not going to be the 2013 2014 Knicks. Remember when the Knicks came back from that 54 win season? The following year they were stink. They were dreadful. and I don't see that happening this year. They're just so it's just a different team, just a whole different mindset, coaching wise and so forth. Although Mike Whitson, it is what it was. You've seen that the Knicks have a lot of young talent. That team is so different. It's so different. It's just apple and oranges. Let's not even go there. I'm sorry to open up that can of worms there. But with that said, I think this team is still, of course, it's not going to play. It hasn't peaked. It hasn't played its best basketball. Just a minor bit about me personally. I'm going to be honest. I'm 25% concerned if the starting unit fits. Do this team, all these players all together fit? I'm 25% now. Before I was like 10%, not even, because you got to be just a smidgens of worried because it's human nature. Like, okay, let's see, but be honest with you, I'm not, now I'm at 25 because I don't know what I'm going to get from Julius. If I'm going to, I'm a little concerned. Hopefully he gets going, hopefully, it's something, if you heard my podcast last episode, I mentioned, the New Orleans Pelican game. It was like a discord there with Julius and RJ and so forth. RJ had that career night and so forth, not to go down the same path again. But I think, ever since that game, I've been seeing a difference in Julius Randle. But who knows what it could be, especially at home. It could be, and it's not, and it could be not getting the proper sleep, the proper, or, I remember one of my good friends, Dangerous, aka Russell, mentioned on one of the streams, could it be that because now there's fans in the stands, Julius is not a shy and his shot or his concentration level is maybe a bit off a little bit, but I remember saying, but these guys have been learning how to play in not just professional stadiums all year long, in collegiate, the college basketball in Kentucky. That's like the fans are right on top of you, and he excelled well. I don't know. Could it be something there? But something has totally been different from Randle ever since that playoff series against the Hawks. Something is totally different there. I don't know if it's a lack of confidence, because the Hawks did a good job in stopping him, and he lost his confidence there, and and maybe he heard a lot of rumblings. It might have been a fluke or whatever the case. I don't know. We don't know what's going on. And I think it's more in between his ears. I think it's more between his ears than his talent, because we've seen the talent. Julius Randle has the talent, and he is very talented player, very talented young man, and I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. I think he'll get it going. I don't see Julius Randle reverting back into a pumpkin. I think and although I'm not gonna think he's not gonna make an all-star team, but I think he's gonna help the team go forward where they want to go. And we shall see. So they got the I call it the NBA chicken soup. When you're gonna play against a 1-14 team, the Rockets on Saturday. Let's see how they come out, how well the offense looks, how well it looks. I'm not going to make any prediction. I've been wrong so far on all my predictions. Ever since 2 weeks ago, I've been wrong. So I don't want to make a prediction. I thought they were going to go and really have a wire-to-wire victory against the Magics, but I was wrong with that there. Just going to say I want to see how the adjustments are with the Knicks. I want to see if Coach Thibodeau makes the adjustments, makes the right, and the players buy in. Because even though Thibodeau could put all the schemes, all the player, all the right plays, call the right plays, but if the team doesn't execute it, then it was for nothing. It was for guts, But we'll see. Like I told you when I was mentioning a little bit earlier, keep an eye on Manu quickly being that vocal leader on the court. I noticed that. Let's see his game. I think is stock up on Manu quickly. Keep an eye on his game. Stock up. Right now, it's Julius Randle and RJ Barrett stock down, but I think those two guys are gonna be okay. They'll rebound. They might not be the sexiest, picks or on any NBA All-Star ballots, but they'll be for us. They'll be for us. Us as Knicks fans, we appreciate hardworking hardworking NBA ball players. It might not be the glamorous, but when we know when someone's giving all their effort and all their best on the field, on the court, we actually serenade them. Look at Charles Oakley. Look at John Starks. Xavier McDaniels. If you're a Knicks fan, it goes back to those days. Trent Tucker. You go back to Kenny the Skywalker. You go back to all those kind of players that gave it. Gerald Wilkins. Those names and so forth. That you knew they weren't the glamorous players in the NBA, Kiki Vandeweghe, but they put it all on the floor. And I think if at the end of the day, with the Knicks fans, if we got players like that, lunch pail, who bring their hard hats, and bring their hard hats, roll up their sleeves, put on the either their Polaroids, or they're going in their denim, their work uniform, and they're going there and they're gonna work, and that's what we want. We want players that that's why I think we identify and were revealed with the New York Knicks of last season, because we saw that, and I don't see why not this team can't do that this season. So what? You added a Fournier, you added a Kemba Walker. Okay. Fournier plays well in Orlando. He could shoot, he could stretch the floor, and Kemba Walker drawing charges, playing. It's just right now, it's just a moment of time to figure things out. I think the Knicks will be fine. I think the Knicks will be okay. Like I said, I'm only 25% concerned. It went up, though. I'll be totally transparent and honest. I was only at 10%. It went up to 25 to 15% because now I'm starting to see a pattern with the third quarter coming out abysmal, not, turning the ball over, and they keep doing the same mistakes over and over, going to that corner, either the right corner or the left corner, and turnover. So we shall see how they adjust that. I wanted to make this quick podcast about going over the Magic game, what to expect against the Houston Rockets. What to expect about the Houston Rockets. I'm not gonna predict. I just think the Knicks are gonna give a better effort. Prepare for home. It'll be interesting to see how Thibodeau's going to play that. Remember, last time they had a back-to-back, they didn't play Kemba Walker first game, and they held them out. And let's see who's not going to be held out, because they have the back-to-back Sunday night in Chicago against the Bulls. We shall see if they're. I think right now, they're a little bit of a not too desperate. I'm not saying desperate because that's not a real good word at this moment. They're still over 500. A little bit of, I think Thibodeau is going to play both Walker and Rose, but you know what? He could actually keep them at somewhere 15 to 16 minutes. You have a man who's playing so well. You might want to increase IQ's minutes for just 10, 15 minutes. Sprinkle that and divide that around them. I think it will work, but I'm just a spectator. But I want to thank everyone. Though I want to wrap it up here, keep it under an hour. I want to thank everyone who's watching us on Twitch, as well as going to watch us on YouTube in a couple hours. I'm uploaded to YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, and those that are going to listen to us on the podcast on Spotify, on Google Podcasts. And all the different Anchor FM, Reason FM, or everywhere you find your podcast, this program will be there. And check out our other programs on the Broad Sports Jedi Network. Tonight, we'll have the MMA program, breaking down the MMA fights. UFC 42, Vegas 42, Yair Rodriguez, past weekend against Max Holloway. We also got the upcoming UFC card with the Chef Dan in Austin. We'll be breaking that down. We also have the boxing fights that might be coming up. But Teofimo Lopez will be fighting in the theater at Madison Square Garden on the 28th. We'll have that preview. We'll also have some more Bellator Cyborg preview fights. A recap. Excuse me. She totally won her fight over the weekend. The boys will be breaking that down. The young men actually, and they'll be breaking that fight card down. We do that. We do the UFC. We do the Yankees also. The return of the Pinstripes, or the Pinstripes Strikes Back, excuse me. We're Pinstripes Strikes Back programming. We're going to be talking about a lot of actions going on in MLB. You saw Verlander sign, so we'll keep an eye on that. Follow us here. If you're part of Twitch or you want to cross over to YouTube, we'll be there on Twitter as well. All the information there. I'll put those that are watching us. I'll put the banner where you can find us. That's our webpage. We'll find us at that webpage there. Every content available is there. You just go ahead, click on that. It'll take you to the different social media platforms, YouTube platform here, back on Twitch. If you share and like, we'll have live panels more often. I'll have more guests. I wanted to come on early. Everyone's working. I will normally come on later in the afternoon. I've also wanted to record it to download it on the podcast as well and edit it tonight on for YouTube. So I want to thank everyone. With that said, this is BX Sports Jedi Network, introducing myself here on Twitch here and on YouTube. And everyone knows me already. Thank you for the overwhelming success in subscribers. We're at the 1.7 mark. So we're on a quest for 2K, and we're 1.7. We're almost there, 300 subscribers away, and we thank you for your support, the generosity that you provide us financially on Cash App and as well as PayPal and super chats as well. Thank you so much for the super chats for on the watch alongs. Appreciate it, and also all the podcasts and all the programming. I appreciate also everyone that's overwhelming buying all the merchandise at our merchandise store. Thank you for all the MMA. We have the MMA merch up there, a couple of the Knicks that we allow without getting in trouble with copyright, so that we're allowed to print. It's all there available on the stores, and we appreciate everyone that's buying the different cup. I can't believe the coffee cups are going pretty quick. So I appreciate everyone. Thank you for all the overwhelming support. Thank you for the financial blessings that you give us on the program, and we appreciate it. Every dollar, it gets invested right back to the program to either better equipment, high-speed internet, or anything that we could do to help the program. Provide we are partners. We're a network. It's not just myself. We have my son Austin is on the program. Chef Dan is on the program, breaking down MMA as well as here with the basketball. We have Heel, who helps me out in MLB. Zach from A to Z Media crosses over and collaborates with us here on the basketball, football, as well as the MLB Yankee Watch Along. And we also have Gideon, aka G Money, also part of the network, helping us out there, coming in with his takes and part of the program, doing play-by-plays as well around the NBA takes. Look for him. He's going to have a nice 25 games resume around the NBA league. I can't wait for him to bring that to fruition. And also you have, we also working with Derek Wilder. I teach, and you reach basketball podcasts on Facebook, and also comes on and helps us. So we're working. So it's a network of different things of all sports. If you love sports, we tried our best. We're not professionals. We're just a bunch of fans speaking about sports, loving the passion of sports, and just doing it for fun, making friends here, networking with different content creators who would love to hear feedback any way we could improve the program to make it better, or if you want to come on and have a conversation about any sports. We will talk about any sports. It doesn't have to be basketball centric. It doesn't have to be Knicks centric. I love baseball. I love basketball. I love football. Boxing, of course, UFC, wrestling, WWE, Survivor Series coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that on the Combat Sport program later on. We had AEW this past weekend. Hangman wins the AEW World Championship. It was a really good AEW pay-per-view event that passed. We'll be breaking that out tonight, so join us. We'll be on YouTube live first, and then I'll end up downloading it, editing it, and putting it on Twitch probably tomorrow. So those that are listening and watching us here on Twitch as well. So we'll see that tomorrow. But for me to you, this is BX Sports Jedi Network. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone on YouTube. I appreciate it. That's going to watch this pre-recorded later. We thank you, and we appreciate your help and your blessing and allowing this program to grow from leaps and bounds. And I thank you so much. So this is BX Sports Jedi Network saying have a blessed afternoon, blessed evening, and we'll see you on the next time.